Hi, so YouTube is being a bitch, so I have to record this on my laptop and then upload it to YouTube. So, fun times, fun times. So, let's get on topic. So, today's topic is people who are behind the times. And by behind the times, I mean people who are still like racist and sexist and homophobic and transphobic and basically in general xenophobic. So, yeah, let's talk about that. Now, I live in Canada, which I'm very happy with, and am going to live here forever if I could. I might have to move for work eventually, but don't wanna, and I will try not to. Because Canada's an awesome country, I have to say. We're like super polite here, everyone's nice, and there's a million one reasons, but let's get on to the ones that are relevant. For example, I'm surprised when I see there are still people who like I still like it's so weird when I see that there are still like homophobic and transphobic people when politically like the country's really accepting of that because gay marriage is legal nationwide. It's been that way for almost 10 years actually because it was 2005. So yeah, see, no anarchy there states who say that everything's going to go to shit. It's been like that for almost 10 years here and like our economy's better than yours and like we're better off than you, so fuck you. Anyways, we're healthier and all this other crap. And anyways, another awesome thing. Now, many of you probably know Canada has universal health care. So, but what's even awesomer if you awesomer is totally a word now, but anyways. So, what's cool is that the universal healthcare, like the government healthcare, actually pays for if you're a trans person, pays for your hormone therapy and your surgeries if you choose to go that to the surgery route. Not everyone does, but anyways. So that's seeing that, and then you would think, oh well, like it, Canada should be super progressive, and it should be. It really should be. But the more I'm learning, the more I'm like, so let's take a look at the ways that Canada is not progressive, and every single way Canada is not progressive, the States is 10 times worse. So, and other countries and whatnot. Anyway, so now thing is that you can't fire someone or not hire someone or treat them poorly in the workplace because of reasons such as race, cultural identity, ethnicity, religious beliefs, sexual orientation, sex, gender identity, that sort of thing. You cannot do that. It's illegal. You'll get fined and possibly jail time, I think. I don't know actually the law very well. Anyway, so all that stuff. Now, but what the thing that bugs me is that, and even like, okay, right now the person who's in charge. Now, okay, you know how in the States they got the Republicans and Democrats, and one of them's like really conservative and the other one's pretty liberal and whatnot? Well, in Canada, we're really simple about things. We got the Conservative Party of Canada and the Liberal Party of Canada, and then the NDP, which is who I mostly vote for, but anyways. So right now the person who's in charge is Stephen Harper, and he's in the Conservative Party of Canada. So he seriously needs to go to a power election next year, and I fucking hope he loses because he has been doing nothing but shit for this country. Anyways, so and I am, for example, now while we are like really not. It's like really faux pas to be racist in any way, and most Canadians say Native and not Indian. Like, whenever I hear people say Indian, I'm like, okay, even if you're not trying to be like accommodating to people, it's just less confusing to say native or aboriginal. Because when you say Indian, you mean like from India or from North America. Like, it's just stupid to use the word Indian to refer to native people. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, but why not something stupid? Here in Canada, we have these things called these status cards for natives. That they don't have to pay GST. We have two taxes. We have PST and GST. Anyways, on products, so like they pay about half as the taxes on products that everyone else does. Cool beans. Good thing that they do this because lots of reasons this video, not I can't put in this video, but anyways, but the thing that I hate about those cards is that it does not say Aboriginal status card or Native Canadian status card. It says Indian status card on them. government of Canada. Really? And I know it says this because one of my good friends is Native and I looked at his card, and two, I worked in retail and we would get status cards and we'd have to process them, and every single one said Indian status card, so it's not like my friend hadn't had a date one or something. I don't understand that. And oh yeah, and we treat our natives really, really bad because, so, you know, Stephen Harper in his first term, because he's on his second term actually, Stephen Harper in his first term made this apology for all the travesties that Canadian government and people have done to Native Americans, because the residential schools and a lot of shit has been done to them. Anyways, and that was like, oh, that's all well and good. And Harper was an okay prime minister in the first term, but second term that we're in now, well, let's see. With the fact that peaceful protesters to dumping oil in a main freshwater drinking water supply were getting frickin' military action at them, and that's not the first time that peaceful native protesters. There was a thing in the 80s about this too. Like, these people, like, I saw this photograph that was taken. There was a man standing in front of a pregnant woman, and it said that the man had seen the woman is getting, like, oh yeah, and there's a freaking soldier with a freaking gun in his hands pointing it at it. He's like, if you're gonna shoot anyone, shoot me, because, you know, like, pregnant woman. Anyways, so, like, oh, crazy shit. But the thing is, you don't really hear about this on the world stage. So, and even in Canadian stuff, it does get kind of, you know, brushed under the carpet and stuff like that. So, fucking hell there. But anyways, there's also, like, okay, before I heard about all this shit that's been going on with Stephen Harper in the second term, I thought, you know, well, Canada's super progressive. And then I heard, I met people from small towns, and they're like, and I was like, okay, fine. You know, the major cities are super progressive. And then I worked at this place called Kitty Town, children's store. Great place to shop if you're a customer. Horrible place to work because of the higher-ups are pieces of shit. Anyways, I really hope my former bosses don't see this, because I'd rather not get shitty referrals. Anyways, because the thing is that they were sexist, and they were racist, and they were homophobic. Not everyone, all the higher-ups, it was mostly the ignorant little Kitty Town bank downtown location that was shitty, ignorant, racist, blah blah blah. She thought she was progressive. So this is the manager at the downtown location, which I worked at a lot. She thought she was progressive because she did not say the N-word. She thought she was progressive. And not just, okay, you cannot say that word, like, that's beyond, like, that was progressive maybe back in the freaking 60s, but now it's a constant. And I write this comic book, and it's very inclusive. It's got bisexual characters, homosexual characters, trans characters, as far as queer things go, but it's also got, I tried to throw every race I could in there. It's got an Asian character, Latina character, half Native, because, like, I decided to make it as inclusive as I could later, and I'd already made this thing where, like, she's a sister, and, like, the girl she's a sister to is, like, ginger, so you can't really do much there, whereas I picked her because I wanted to have one of the main characters that is not white, and she's already super tall, has straight black hair, even though her sister has curly red hair, so I thought, hey, there we go, that would be easy to do, and it worked with her character story, and this is getting off topic anyways. Indian character and black character, etc., etc. So I made sure to make it super inclusive. So, because I see so much whitewashing and heteronormativity, or it's either hetero or homo, there's nothing in between, there's no trans representation. So I was like, you know what? I am a writer. I have the power to change that. Let's do it. So, I've been trying to include as many variation as I possibly can. Now, I write this comic all the time. I have it with me. So when I was working there and on my lunch breaks and my afternoon breaks and whatnot, you know, they would see me working on it. And once a coworker asked to read it, and I said, okay, it's still in the at the time, it's still in the planning stages, so it's just like storyboarding more than anything. But sure. Anyway, so she gave the story at least, and she really liked it. And but the manager there had been reading over her shoulder every now and then. Now, the main the character that the story is mostly about, she's the bisexual character I mentioned earlier, and she's currently in a relationship with her lesbian girlfriend. So there is a scene where they kiss because like you can't like well okay there's more than one but anyway she happened to read over the shoulder at the time of there was a show and there were two of them kissing. And so, and then later she was, you know, asking about my comic because she saw me working on it like so much. And she's like, well, are you ever going to get that published? And I'm like, yeah, when I get it done and whatever I'm planning on getting it published as a graphic novel. And she's like, well, where can you get that published? Like, what kind of magazine? Like Mad or something? And I'm like, I was thinking SLG or Image or Dark Horse or even through Comixology or something. Like, Mad, it doesn't do comics like this. Like, why did you think that? I was kind of confused. And she's like, well, because it's got, you know, the lesbian characters in it. And I was like, so? And she's like, well, isn't that, like, super risque? And, you know, like, you can't put that in mainstream comics, you know? And I'm like, oh really? And I start listing off popular characters in Marvel and DC, such as Batwoman, Northstar, who's an X-Man, and there was this whole X-Men issue that was just his wedding, and like his gay wedding, and like I start listing off all these characters, and I'm like, this is mainstream DC, Marvel, superhero, like the main two companies for comic books. They have plenty of queer characters and whatever. And she was completely shocked. She could not believe it. And I'm like, bitch, this is the 21st century. Of course, I did not swear at my boss because that would have made me fired. Anyways, so this video is getting really long, but it's really important, sort of. And that workplace was also very sexist because it had this stupid ideology that, oh, women are ever so delicate if they do any hard work whatsoever. Their entire bodies will break and shut down. Now, before working there, I had already gotten under my belt 3 years equipment handler experience and full health and safety training at multiple workplaces. So I've had it more than once, as in taught to me is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, which is something that none of my coworkers had. So, and also I was 20, or 19 and 20, mostly 20. Anyway, so while I worked there, so young, and I work out every day, not so much since school because busyness, but at the time I was working out every day, and I'm strong, like, I don't know if I still can, because again, I haven't been working out as much because of school, but, like, at the time I could lift at least 60 pounds dead weight. So, I'm not a delicate little flower, I'm more of a big hulking rock. So, okay, I'm not, but anyways, you get the idea, like, I'm strong and I'm able-bodied and I know what I'm doing. So it would make sense to get this, you know, strong, young, able-bodied person with full health and safety training already, which they didn't even provide, which is actually against code regulations and all that shit. Anyways, it would make sense to have that person do the heavy lifting, right? No, because I'm a woman, I must be delicate, yeah? So, yeah, I always got in trouble when doing the heavy lifting because they were terrified I would break myself or something. Like, it was to the point that they preferred a 60-year-old man with a bad back who got that bad back from working at the company for 12 years lifting with his back and not his legs like you're supposed to. They preferred that he did the heavy lifting over me. Gender equality. See, whenever I complain about sexism, I always throw that story in there because people think that when I'm saying sexism, you know, people always throw he's like, oh, you want to get equal pay? Well, men do more hard work, like women don't want to do hard work. It's not that we don't want to, we're not allowed to. Anyway, so I found it so stupid, and I kept on arguing this, and this is even crazier, like, this is in Canada. And I was like, why the hell are they so worried about me hurting myself, but they don't care about the guys hurting themselves, which they did all the time. And I had never hurt myself, no matter what kind of heavy lifting I was doing. I found out it was because insurance companies, so that, you know, when someone gets injured on the job, you have to pay, like, an insurance to get them paid for disability or injury, whatever. Anyways, insurance companies charge more to cover men and women than if they just covered men. So the company wasn't insured to cover women if they got injured on the job because it cost more, and the company was a family business, so they couldn't afford the extra cost of insuring women. Can you believe this? Modern day, like, this is what I'm talking about when sexism is fucking everywhere. Like, I'm not making this shit up. Like, this is serious. The fact that this is an issue. Like, fine, we have equal pay here, unlike the States, which is an issue, but we aren't covered under insurance unless the company wants to pay more, and not all companies can afford to pay more. Like, the fact there are people, individuals, such as my manager at the downtown location, and a few other coworkers, because there were a lot of old ladies that worked there. Anyways, the fact that there's individuals who are behind the times is one thing, but the fact that there are governments and company, like big businesses, and their government, regulations and like the fact that that shit still is not progressive in a country that should seriously be is ridiculous. I know I took like 16 minutes or 15 minutes to get to this point, but it is worth it, so frigger. Thank you for watching the whole video. I know it's very long. But I don't, people who are not nice to other people, you suck. I'm trying to stay lighthearted to make this more entertaining, but I am really pissed off at the way the world is right now. Unless you're a white heterosexual, like, it's still like that. Unless you're a white heterosexual male, there's gonna be some way, like, something's gonna get in your way. Like, you're gonna be treated worse at work, or worse as a person in general. There's gonna be stigma, and there's going to, oh, no, hold on. I'm not even finished for that, actually. Unless you're a white heterosexual male with no disabilities, and that includes mental health issues that become disabilities, you're screwed. You're absolutely screwed. Because there's so many stereotypes, stigma, and lack of accommodation or whatever else, the world is screwed. Unless you are a very small percentage of the total world population. Because 1 in 3 Canadians has a mental illness, and I think it's a similar percentage of people with a disability. And most Canadians are not white anymore. Okay, well that might be not right, because I see a lot of white Canadians, both in Vancouver, here in Montreal, and Quebec City. Those are the major cities I've been to, and it's mostly white. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, okay, fine, even if we are still. And at least half of our population are women, and not all of us are of the mainstream faith or belief system, which is Christianity mostly, or atheism. Me, I'm white, I'm lucky there, but I am quite mentally ill, to the point of it being a disability. Like, I'm applying to get disability from the government because it's getting in the way of me achieving work. Like, it's anxiety before you all think I'm crazy. I just get too anxious and I can't function. Anyways, and I am gay, and I'm young, and I'm a woman, because there's also the ageist stigma and stereotypes and discrimination. So even though I'm white, and you would think, oh, and I'm cisgendered, that's another benefit. I'm white and I'm cisgendered, but everything else is against me. And I'm lucky because at least I have 2 privileged states, and there are those who have less. This video is 20 minutes long, I'm very sorry, but the points kind of needed to be made. And I'm ending this on a more serious note because this is serious issues.